Well, hello again. This is Monday, the 12th of January 2026. I didn't have time to do a video yesterday. I have been making some notes, I just didn't have time to make the video yesterday. So I thought, rather than leave it until next week, I might just as well do the video today. I mean, it doesn't really matter if it's a day late, does it? Not like there's a schedule as such. So, it's 32 degrees centigrade here today. So what have I seen this week? Well, I've seen the Fanboy panel show, being pretty infantile, playing jingles over a PhD astrophysicist. And they see and hear what they want to see and hear, and I'll come to that, and I'll explain, you know, what she said, and then what they said, and you can see that they were not paying attention. Same with the fangirl. There's not many of those out there. I'm sure you know who I mean. The one that's unbiased, yet has a flying saucer behind her when she does her presentations, and she's often got the flying saucer with the men in black walking towards the camera. Completely unbiased. She just gives us the information and we can make up our own minds, but she sort of rams down our throat the men in black, and she distorts what she reads as well, and I'll give you an example of that. Okay, so Elizondo, the wannabe Trump chandelier czar, is upset with David Grusch. This is most likely due to David Grusch asking Elizondo to put up or shut up behind the scenes, and he's done neither. Remember, Grusch said, you know, if Elizondo's part of the legacy program, he should just say so. So he's obviously told Grusch this behind the scenes. So now Grusch says he's the only one with the credentials and background that can speak about the ET subject. He hasn't, of course. He just repeats what he's been told. Elizondo tweeted on X, "The only one, huh?" This is after Grusch said he's the only one with the credentials and background that can speak about the ET subject. Okay, and then Lou Elizondo went, "Well, wait a minute, what about me? What about, excuse me, Mr. Grusch?" Elizondo has a new book called Reckoning. I saw a picture of that. It's got a flying saucer. It's all hyped up nonsense. You know, shining beams of light down. And, you know, his book's called Reckoning, The Unspoken Truth About UFOs and the Urgency of Now is the subtitle for that. So the book is called Reckoning, The Unspoken Truth About UFOs and the Urgency of Now. Now, his previous book was called Imminent, you know. I mean, what was imminent exactly? Nothing's changed, has it? How long has he been spruiking this nonsense? Since 2017, and nothing's happened, has it? The unspoken truth is what you hear from Elizondo and co. The unspoken truth being, it's all bullshit. There is no ET presence on Earth. They're not coming here, they're not crashing here, their technology's not being reverse engineered here. That is the unspoken truth that you will never hear from the guys making money out of it. Giving talks, TV shows, keynote speaker fees, selling books. So, and again, the unspoken truth about UFOs, not the unspoken truth about extraterrestrials. So he's not gonna say it's ETs. I mean, as I've said before, UFOs are real, UAPs are real. I can see something in the sky, I don't know what it is. It's a UFO, it's a UAP. There's no tangible link between that and extraterrestrials. The urgency of now. Now! Must be now! You know, and 2 years after people have wasted their money on this nonsense, they're going to be saying, well, what was urgent exactly? You know, well, nothing's happened. Oh Oh dear. So his previous book was called Imminent, and this one has the urgency of now in the title. Of course, nothing ET related is imminent or urgent. This is just it's just hype to attract the it's just bullshit to attract the gullible, you know. The title mentions UFOs, not ETs. The unspoken truth, as far as Elizondo and Co is concerned, is it's all bullshit. There's zero tangible evidence to support UFOs being extraterrestrial visitors. That's the truth. And if Elizondo and Co want to tell us otherwise, they really need to prove it, you know, with tangible evidence. Put up or shut up. Put up or STFU. So that's what Elizondo and the others will never tell you. They will never tell you the truth about extraterrestrials coming here, crashing here, and their technology being reverse engineered here. The truth is it's not happening. It's all bullshit. Okay, so his book, this new book, is spruiked as follows. A former Pentagon insider reveals the hidden truth about UFOs. And UFOs, not ETs. And why humanity can no longer afford to look away. What does that mean exactly? Why can't humanity afford to look away? What are we going to miss exactly? Someone taking a photograph of a reflection of a chandelier, maybe, or a couple of irrigation circles, possibly. Oh dear. We can no longer afford to look away. Complete nonsense, of course. You know, he's not going to say what we can no longer afford to look away from. He's told us himself. It's not his job to tell us anything new. So he's already told us all he's going to tell us. He's not going to tell us anything classified. He's told us that in his own words. So what exactly is he going to? He's going to tell us we can't afford to look away from in his book. Well, I won't be wasting my money to find out. That is for sure and certain. I'll wait for the reviews that say, what the hell is this? You know, there's no evidence again. It's just like the previous book. You know, it's useful for stopping your table wobbling. You know, it just happens to be the right thickness to stop your table wobbling. But beyond that, it's a complete waste of time. For decades, governments have concealed the truth about unidentified anomalous phenomena, or UAPs, but now the silence is cracking and the consequences of secrecy are becoming impossible to ignore. Well, the Pentagon's made an official statement saying there's no evidence of ETs coming here. Arrow has said the same thing. It's just a core of science fiction bullshitters that are spreading all this nonsense. There is zero tangible evidence to prove any of it. So, again, UAPs, UFOs, not extraterrestrials. So if you interview Elizondo, ask him why the blurb on his book doesn't refer to extraterrestrials. Why does it refer to UAPs and UFOs? Now, the silence is cracking and the consequences of secrecy are becoming impossible to ignore. Complete and utter rubbish. You know, we've had official statement from the Pentagon, official statement from Arrow. It's all bullshit. If Elizondo and Co want to prove it's not all bullshit, I'd be happy to see their evidence. But they never ever present any. They run away from skiffs. So there's not going to be anything in this book that's worth reading. It says, in Reckoning, Luis Elizondo, former head of the Pentagon's secretive UFO program, delivers an urgent wake-up call. Now, is Elizondo talking about ATIP? I mean, if he's talking about ATIP wasn't a Pentagon UFO program, was it? Secretive UFO program. It was Elizondo's hobby program. It had no funding. It was just his hobby. So where are they getting the former head of the Pentagon secretive UFO program from, exactly? Why don't they name the program? It's probably because there's going to be an awful lot of people saying, wait a minute, if he's talking about ATIP, it wasn't a Pentagon program. And I think the other guys, Stratton and Co, have said he was nothing to do with ORSAP, haven't they? So what exactly was he the head of? The Elizondo Flying Saucer Club. So it delivers an urgent wake-up call. So what does Elizondo expect us to do about this exactly? What do we need to wake up to? UAPs are real. I've said earlier, UAPs and UFOs are real. Everybody sees something in the sky they can't identify. Doesn't mean it's an alien spacecraft. There's no tangible link between that and extraterrestrials. This is meaningless. The evidence is undeniable, and our future depends on how we respond. Drawing on previously undisclosed evidence. Really? He's going to be drawing on previously undisclosed evidence. He told us it wasn't his job to tell us anything new, that he wasn't going to tell us anything that's classified. So what undisclosed evidence is he going to present exactly? Is this undisclosed evidence just going to be more science fiction stories? I mean, you can't present tangible evidence in a book, can you? You couldn't open the book and have a piece of alien technology fall out on the floor. So his previously undisclosed evidence is going to be not worth knowing about, I suspect. If he's still got to get this stuff cleared by DOPSA, they're not going to let him say anything secret, even if there was something secret to tell, which there isn't. So this whole thing is just it's just bullshit hype to sell the book. That's all it is. It's not going to tell you anything at all. So undisclosed evidence, global history, so it's going to be full of historical cases that are all bullshit because they have no tangible evidence to support any of them. So it's going to be the Malmstrom Air Force Base, it's going to be Roswell, it's going to be Kecksburg probably, Phoenix Lights, global history, groundbreaking science. There won't be any groundbreaking science in it. Zero chance of that. Elizondo reveals why this is not just about strange lights in the sky. It's about technology, security, faith, and the very identity of humankind. Drivel. This is the pivotal moment. It will come and go, just like Farah's bullshit movie. Just like Elizondo's first bullshit book and all the other bullshit books that have come before it, Timothy Good's bullshit books. It's not a pivotal moment. We will evolve into a species ready to face the truth. You ready to face the truth, Elizondo? And Nell, and Nolan, Gallaudet, Putoff, Davis... all these people, are you prepared? Are you ready to face the truth? The truth being it's all complete and utter rubbish. Science fiction drivel. Are you ready to face that truth? Danny Sheehan and all that mob. MUFON. More usual effing ordinary nonsense. MUFON. Are you ready to face the truth? I don't think these guys can handle the truth, to be perfectly honest. They all live in cloud cuckoo land. Or they want you to. Oh yeah, or retreat into denial and risk catastrophe. Well, I'm risking catastrophe because I'm denying it. I'm saying it's all bullshit. So I wonder what catastrophe is going to befall me, I wonder. So that's apparently the full blurb on the publisher's website. It's on the Amazon website under science fiction fantasy, quite appropriately. Science fiction fantasy. That's where it says it's coming soon. Science fiction fantasy. So, you know, it refers to UFOs and UAPs, not extraterrestrials. Elizondo is described as the former head of the Pentagon's secretive UFO program. Why is the program not named? It's probably going to refer to ATIP, and everyone will be jumping up and down on that, saying that was his hobby. That wasn't a Pentagon program at all. So if it's his hobby UFO program, it's not the Pentagon's secretive UFO program, is it? Is Elizondo going to find himself in court like Corey Good, admitting he made it all up? Apparently the book delivers an urgent wake-up call, yeah, just like his previous book. Imminent, it's all imminent, ordnance incoming. It's all bullshit. It's drivel, isn't it? You know, UAPs, UFOs are real. We're not interested in UFOs and UAPs. We're interested in our extraterrestrials coming to this planet. Are they crashing here? Is their technology being reverse engineered here? That's what we want to know about. We're not interested in UAPs and UFOs. They cloud the issue. And have been real for decades. What exactly is the urgency? You know, if you get to interview Elizondo, just ask him, what exactly is the urgency? What is this catastrophe? Be specific, so we can all have a good laugh. So there's zero tangible evidence to link UAPs or UFOs to extraterrestrials. That's why he's careful to only refer to UAPs or UFOs and not extraterrestrials. Yeah, so, you know, what's the urgency? What's going to be the catastrophe? It's just hyped up bullshit. It's meaningless drivel. So, you know, are we expecting a chandelier or crop irrigation circle invasion? Is that what it's all about? As I've said before, if aliens were going to take this planet, we would not even meet them. You know, just send a drone to spray something into the atmosphere. We know from the previous few years back how quickly something can just spread around the planet. And if that had a kill component, most of the people on the face of the earth would be dead. And an alien bioweapon would be a lot better than that. It would make sure and certain that everyone was dead. We would never meet them. As I've said before, they just quarantined the planet for a couple of years, and then they'd move in, and the bugs and the wild animals would have done their bit and cleared up all the mucky biological stuff. You know, there'll just be bones left, and you just sweep up the bones and move in. And I suspect that's probably how it's done. And if an ET species wanted this planet, I think that's how they would take it. You know, we would not even meet them. We would have no idea what was going on. It'd all be over in a couple of days. There wouldn't be a ragtag band of newspaper reporters and scientists in a basement somewhere figuring out a way to save the planet. It wouldn't be like Independence Day, you know, where you have a single point of failure engineered into your invasion plan. You know, so as soon as you can destroy that mothership, all the other things just fall out of the sky. It's complete nonsense, isn't Okay, so, I mean, how catastrophic is this going to be? You know, do I need to buy a crash helmet? Is ordnance incoming? it's ludicrous, isn't it? It's just drivel. Yeah, what we know for sure is there will not be any new juicy information in Elizondo's new book. He's told us as much. He's told us he's not going to tell us anything new. He's told us he's not going to tell us anything classified. It probably had to be cleared by DOPSA. So what are we expecting to be in it exactly? Historical. Well, he's told us there's going to be historical stuff in it. So it's just going to be a rehash of all the old UFO sightings. You know, how many people saw the Phoenix lights? You know, Mac Brazel and Jesse Marcel and all these people, the Roswell. You know, and it's all drivel. It's all bullshit. But it's going to be a rehash of that. There's nothing else you can put in it, really, is there? So, yeah, so I won't be buying the book. It says, will we evolve into a species ready to face the truth or retreat into denial and risk catastrophe? Now this is a bit of scaremongering, you know. This might scare the gullible, but it's not going to scare anyone with an IQ bigger than their shoe size. Yeah, it's just nonsense, you know. As I said previously, we already have the truth. You know, the Pentagon have told us it's all bullshit. ET's not coming here; they never have. Arrow says the same thing. It's just a core of science fiction bullshitters spreading all this nonsense. They offer zero tangible evidence to support anything they're saying. This is a lot on Elizondo and his book, isn't it? Blimey. Yeah, I think. Yeah, I think all Elizondo is doing really is preparing his retirement plan. It's not. Needs another cash injection so he can sell less cheeseburgers. Oh dear! Lots of hype, spun around lots of bullshit. Elizondo and the rest of his professional bullshitters are the ones trying desperately to hide the truth. And that is the truth. You know, they're trying to hide the fact that it's all bullshit. And they're trying every which way. You know, remember they're avoided Luna's skiff. Elizondo, Grusch, Mellon, all called in sick. Because they couldn't give any details that could be checked. Because they would be found to be science fiction bullshitters overnight. So, you know, these people are making a good living out of it. Yeah, there's not going to be any kind of catastrophe. The only real catastrophe will be more gullible half-wits being sucked into this nonsense and screwed out of their hard-earned money. If we are in imminent danger or catastrophe from ETs, prove it with tangible evidence or STFU. So these people should be ashamed of themselves for grifting off the gormless, the gullible. Shame on them, I've written here. Shame on them. They know it's all bullshit. And they're relying on the gormless and the gullible to spend their money on this ufotainment swindle. Going to see them talk, you know, buying books. Yeah. So as I said, I think it's on the Amazon website, coming soon under Science Fiction Fantasy, where it belongs. Okay, so that's enough of Elizondo. At least it seems Paulina Luna has woken up to the fact witness testimony without tangible evidence is a complete waste of time and money. She said as much. I saw her being interviewed, and she said, "Yeah, we think that having any further congressional hearings with just testimony and no evidence will be a waste of time. So they're not going to bother with that. So there's not going to be any more Borlands and Browns and Nuccetellis spinning their science fiction yarns. It's only going to be people that can present tangible evidence." And you know what that means, don't you? It means there's not going to be any more congressional hearings. Because if they're only going to have as witnesses in these congressional hearings people that can back up what they're saying with tangible evidence, they're never going to find any. There aren't any. So there's not going to be any more congressional hearings. She said they won't be having any more hearings until they can find witnesses with tangible evidence. This, of course, means they're not going to find any witnesses with tangible evidence. There will be no more hearings. Now, because none of it is real. Now, no one has any evidence to support ETs coming here, crashing here, or their technology being reverse engineered here. They're not going to, Luna and Burlison and co are not going to see anything like that. Luna tells us she wants to get immunity from some witnesses to come and talk to her in a skiff. Now this will be brilliant if she can do this, if she can achieve this, because all these fake whistleblowers are hiding behind this. We're going to be prosecuted. This is going to happen to us. If you can get us immunity, we can tell you everything. Now this is exactly what Elizondo and Grusch said before. Arrange a skiff, and then we can give you details that can be checked. Luna set up a skiff. They called in sick. Grusch, Elizondo and Mellon called in sick, did not attend the skiff because they knew Arrow was going to be there and they'd be able to check out what they were saying. Now, if Luna manages to get immunity from prosecution for these people that are claiming they can give all this information as soon as they get this immunity, because they fully expect not to get it. If Luna can get that immunity and say, okay, we've got the immunity, I've arranged the skiff, let's all get together and discuss these details, you know what's going to happen again, don't you? There's going to be another outbreak of skiff flu. None of them, if they're given immunity, they're not going to be able to go along to Luna's skiff and give any details because they'll be found out to be science fiction bullshitters immediately. So I would love to see immunity given to these fake whistleblowers. That's what they are. And if Luna arranges another skiff, I fully expect there to be every excuse under the sun as to why they cannot attend. There'll be people waving guns at them. All kinds of bullshit, Anything to keep away from that skiff now that they've got immunity. Of course, they don't need immunity to talk to Arrow, and they can talk to Arrow anyway. So, if Luna can get these people immunity, that will be the final nail in this science fiction coffin. Luna, Burlison and co will have gotten to the bottom of it. Because if they get immunity, these people run away from the skiff, or they give details that turn out to be science fiction rubbish, we can finally drop this whole subject in the bin where it belongs. That would be brilliant. If Luna can get the immunity for these guys, that will be the final nail in the coffin of this science fiction rubbish. These people are not going to present any not going to be able to present any tangible evidence. If they get immunity, oh yeah, well I could give you a list of names and I could show you where all this is going on and I can give you samples of materials. If only I had immunity. Well, there's your immunity. Oh shit! What am I going to do now? It's drivel, and it would be excellent, absolutely excellent, if Luna can get these clowns immunity. I would fall about laughing reading the excuses. The list of excuses is going to be like this, you know. I've got bubonic plague, you know. A leg's fallen off the dog. I had to rush it to the vets, you know. Parrot's got a sore beak. The cat's taken a dump in the cottage pie. So please, Representative Luna, Representative Burlison, please, please, please get these people immunity. And then we can all put this ridiculous science fiction nonsense to bed once and for all. Eric Burlison said he wants to get to the bottom of it. I'll tell you what you're going to find at the bottom of it, Mr. Burlison, exactly what Arrow found at the bottom of it. Just a few science fiction bullshitters with zero tangible evidence to support what they're saying. That's what you're going to find at the bottom of it. But you will have got to the bottom of it, and we will all know it's all science fiction rubbish. Yeah. So I've actually written here, you know, Grusch, Elizondo, and melancholy and sick to Luna, the last skiff Luna organised. You know, if anyone's got to provide any kind of evidence, they're not going to be able to do that. They're going to find every excuse under the sun. Whether, you know, they've got men in black, they've got Jake and Elwood chasing them down the road, hiding in shrubs, you know, in their gardens, you know, being looked over by werewolves. If you're Jay Stratton. But that will be the final nail in the bullshit coffin. So let's hope senators or representatives, I don't know what the difference is, Luna and Burlison and co, probably Mace as well, can get immunity for these bullshitting clowns. Okay. Be fully prepared for another round of skiff flu. Okay, so Grusch has reappeared. Not with his op-ed, of course, or any tangible evidence to back up what he's saying, as usual. He tells us General James Clapper ran a crash retrieval program as part of the Legacy program. This is, of course, complete and utter nonsense, as there is no Legacy program. Just ask Lou Elizondo. Pardon me. If there is any kind of Legacy program, it doesn't involve crashed extraterrestrial vehicles visiting ETs, their biology being, you know, examined. It doesn't involve anything whatsoever to do with ETs, if there is any kind of Legacy program. Now, of course, General James Clapper doesn't say that he ran any kind of retrieval program. He said he was aware of some program. Probably the program he was aware of, depending on how far back you're going, is probably Allsap. You know, when Lukatsky and Stratton were chasing werewolves around Skinwalker Ranch. $22 million on that bullshit. That's probably what he was aware of. He probably wouldn't have been aware of ATIP, because ATIP wasn't a real program. There was a UAP task force, wasn't there, previously? It might have been something like that. But he certainly didn't give the impression. Now, I haven't seen his interview on Farah's comedy film, but I've heard it described, and it's been described as he downplays it. He said he was aware of some program, but he doesn't know anything about it. He certainly wasn't running a crash retrieval program. So Grusch tells us that he hasn't watched Dan Farah's Age of Disclosure comedy movie. I wonder if that's sour grapes. He wasn't in it, was he? Because remember, he said that you know, he wouldn't appear in it. I think because he said that Elizondo should say, if he was involved in the legacy program, he should just say so. He should take the red meat to Luna's skiff. Didn't even attend the skiff, let alone take the red meat there. So I think Elizondo's been G'ing him up behind the scenes, and now Grusch is saying, well, you've told me you were part of the legacy program, you've worked on this stuff, you've seen this stuff. I've made a fool of myself telling the public exactly what you told me, and now you're not backing me up. You're not telling the public what you told me. That's why Grusch didn't appear in the film. So Grusch says he hasn't even watched that film. He's seen clips from it. It sounds like just the sort of clips I've seen. You know, a few clips I've seen are just ridiculous. They're meaningless, really. And apparently Farah's working on Age of Disclosure too, so he can strike while the iron's hot, you know, suck some more money out of the gaulless and the gullible before people completely lose interest in this subject. Because as I've said, it's been circling the drain for some time now. And unless somebody turns up very, very soon with some tangible evidence to prove ETs are coming here, they're crashing here, and their technology is being reverse engineered here, it's going to go down the plug hole where it belongs. So Grusch hasn't seen the movie. I haven't seen the movie. I've seen clips, says Grusch. Yeah. Oh dear. So Grusch tells us he should be the only former military officer and intelligence official that is being completely... Oh, sorry. Grusch tells us he should not be the only former military officer and intelligence official that is being completely candid with the information they were exposed to. You know, Elizondo tweeted on X, the only one, huh? So, so Grusch is saying here he should not be the only former military officer and intelligence official. So he's saying, but with that statement, he's saying Elizondo is not backing him up. They're not going to sit next to each other and back each other up with that, are they? He considers himself the only one to be doing it. So that gives me the impression that Elizondo has said to him behind the scenes, he's really talked it up, all this sort of stuff, but now he won't repeat that in public. So Grusch is saying, I shouldn't be the only one saying this. I shouldn't be the only one that's making a complete fool of myself on global social media, you know, on the mainstream media. So Grusch is a little upset, understandably. Oh dear. Trouble in paradise. Remember I said last week, Eric Burlison was saying there's all these factions in the disclosure movement. It's a movement, all right. It's a steaming pile. There really is nothing to disclose. And all these clowns can suck money in and push for disclosure for forever and a day. It's never going to happen because there's nothing to disclose. And I'm sure most of them know that. So, yeah. So Elizondo won't tell the public what he's told Grusch behind the scenes. I really can't imagine why, can you? Grusch is still pushing the science fiction narrative, implying the CIA has recovered ET bodies. Drivel, of course. You know, if you want people to believe that, Mr. Grusch, you're going to have to put up some tangible evidence. Show us an alien in a jar, you know. That's had samples taken and been verified to be extraterrestrial by a few reputable universities. So the CIA doesn't have any alien bodies. It's just complete and utter rubbish. Just put up or shut up, Grusch. You know, put up or STFU. Same goes for you, Elizondo. You know, we've had enough of this science fiction rubbish. You know, ordnance incoming, imminent, catastrophe. Then what's happened? FA, and that's all that's going to happen, isn't it? So Yeah. Actually, me saying put up or shut up, Grusch is saying the same thing. It's ironic, rather, isn't it? He says people that appeared in Farah's movie are or were involved in the legacy program but didn't admit it in the movie. So he's saying these people in the movie obviously have told him, just like Elizondo has, behind the scenes, that they were involved in the legacy program. Because Grusch, although he hasn't seen the film, he's seen clips of these people on Farah's movie, and they're not saying, yeah, I was personally involved in the legacy program. And Grusch is saying, what? WTF is going on here? So even Grusch is saying to them, put up or shut up, put up or STFU. Why didn't they admit it in Farah's movie? They didn't admit it in Farah's movie because there would be people watching, probably Arrow, that would be able to check what they're saying, and it would be found to be science fiction rubbish immediately. That's why. I mean, it would be sensational, wouldn't it? Absolutely sensational. Someone to get a Nobel Prize. If they could prove ETs were coming here, crashing here, and the technology's been reverse engineered here, they'd go in the history books. Their names would be remembered forever as the person that, as the people that revealed we're not alone in the cosmos. It'd be monumental. And none of these people are doing that. They're sitting there shrugging their shoulders. I've been told, well, I heard there was a program. So Grusch is saying these people should admit they were involved in the legacy program. So they've told him behind the scenes they're involved in the legacy program, just like Elizondo has. In public, they're not going to mention that. And it's not because it's a super secret legacy program, it's because it's all bullshit. And it will be easily provable as bullshit as soon as any details are revealed. So let's hope Luna and Mace and Burlison push for detail that can be checked, for tangible evidence. Sounds like that's what they're looking for. So let's hope they stay on that track and are not swayed by more bullshitters with science fiction stories. So Grusch has obviously fallen for all these tall tales, and he's running around telling everybody. He's making a fool of himself all over the place. And he's saying, wait a minute, that's not what you told me. That's not what you told me. This other guy, this Admiral, no, that's not what you told me. Maybe Grusch just lacks critical thinking ability. I mean, he's got autism, hasn't he? Maybe PTSD as well, probably not a good mix. Does that affect his critical thinking ability? Is he not able to look at something and say, that's very obviously bullshit? Maybe it's a mental health issue that allows him to perceive all this science fiction rubbish as something real. He's told us himself he hasn't seen any. He hasn't seen any tangible evidence. He's only choosing to believe what he's been told. People have told him. People have been killed to protect the secret. CIA's got bodies. He's been told all this and he's repeating it. He hasn't seen any of it. So, Dan Farah wants to bring out a sequel, Age of Disclosure 2. That'll probably make him a good few quid and then be immediately forgotten, just like Age of Disclosure 1. It's all about money, of course. It's got nothing whatsoever to do with the truth about ETs coming here, because that would be a really short film. There'd be someone from the Pentagon saying, an official statement, there is zero tangible evidence to support ETs coming here, crashing here, or their technology being reverse engineered here. There is no evidence of them ever coming here. Arrow, set up to investigate this very subject, tells us exactly the same thing. It's just a core of bullshitters with zero tangible evidence to support what they're saying. So we know what the score is, the reality of it. And what Farah and all these other people are doing is all about money. I mean, he was suing someone, wasn't he, that bought the film, and they just wanted to show it to a few friends that wouldn't have bought the film anyway, and he wanted to take them to court and get money out of them. Now, if that's not a huge red flag that's got "this is just all about money" written all over it, I don't know what is. It's got nothing to do with truth. It's all about making money out of the gullible, out of the people that believe all this nonsense. Any sequel will be just as useless as the first. There's not going to be any evidence presented. If anything, more and more people are drifting away from this every day. They're saying, you know, we keep hearing these stories, we never see any evidence, it's all bullshit. Bring out another film and there's no evidence and there's just more stories. People are going to say, oh, you know, if another one comes out, I'm not even going to bother watching it, you know. So, yeah, zero tangible evidence of ET's coming here was presented in his last movie, and there's not going to be any evidence presented in his new movie either. Okay, so let's move on. Now, it'll be easy to tell who I'm talking about. I don't know whether I should name her or not, but it's an ET fangirl. She always starts her videos with, you know, I'm going to give you this information without bias, and you can make up your own mind as to what you think. She's got a flying saucer in the background. Not that she's biased. She's got graphics showing flying saucer with men in black with the sunglasses walking away from it, you know. She's not biased at all. But I saw her reading some stuff, some UK MOD documents, and it didn't sound like she was reading the same document as I was. So she's talking about a memo marked Secret UK Eyes B, which apparently describes a mission to acquire technology that doesn't exist on Earth. She tells us, the memo states, UAP pose a potential threat to the defence of the realm. Of course, she doesn't read out the previous paragraph, which states, logic would indicate that if significant numbers are reporting seeing strange objects in the sky, then there may be basis in fact. There may be basis in fact. And this was mainly, I think, referring to the, I think it was in what would it have been, 1998 or something, 1997, UFO flap in Belgium, where F-16s were scrambled and these things just outran them, and there was a big triangular thing with lights on it that was... The main picture that was shown was actually an admitted hoax. A guy said he made this big thing out of polystyrene, painted it black and put light bulbs in it. But, and I thought, well, why all the interest in Belgium, of all places? Why would they cross the galaxy and then spend their time flying around Belgium? So I don't think it was extraterrestrials visiting Belgium, to be perfectly honest. Are they famous for chocolate? Maybe they like chocolate. Maybe chocolate is the secret fuel for interstellar spacecraft. So, logic would indicate that if significant numbers are reporting seeing strange objects in the sky, then there may be a basis in fact. She's unbiased, but she ignores the statement that says if significant numbers, not significant numbers. So we don't know if there's significant numbers or not, and there may be. You know, so... There's nothing in that that says it is, it's happening, you know, it's real, it may, if. So, you know, there may be basis in fact, not that there is basis in fact. There may be. She goes on to read more of the document. She tells us UAPs do not appear to use conventional reaction propulsion. The document shows this relates to the Belgium UFO flap of 1997. The Belgian deltas, so the big triangular shaped things. Very, very similar to the the battleships in Star Wars, the Imperial Star Destroyers. So they hovered. Apparently they hovered for long periods of time and then accelerated to supersonic speeds, outrunning F-16s. Now this was this was confirmed by the Belgian military. Now that is interesting. Doesn't necessarily mean they're real physical objects, of course. It could be that the F-16s didn't actually see these things, and these things only appeared on radar to be hovering and then disappearing at fantastic speeds because it was some sort of system glitch. So the document states, if this represents real technology, perhaps it should be acquired. Again, if this represents real technology, there's no tangible evidence to support that. Apparently another briefing letter marked Secret Eyes B states, the reported technology, if true, would represent technology if true, we don't have. No matter the origin, the determination of the technology and possible acquisition is a matter for the Defence Intelligence Staff. Again, if true. So they're not saying, you know, we know these things are real, we need to get the Defence Intelligence Staff to have a look at them. It's saying if true. You know, if real. They may. If. So they don't know as fact these objects are real. The Defence Intelligence Staff tasked with this would have been DI-55, Aerospace Intelligence. Now the fangirl tells us the British were not just documenting sightings, they were trying to reverse engineer whatever was flying over their airspace. Well, this is complete and utter rubbish. They would have to have a sample of the technology to be able to try to reverse engineer it, wouldn't they? And they're saying that the document says they don't even know it's real. But the fangirl is saying they were trying to reverse engineer whatever was flying over their airspace. Not that she's biased. Not that she's seeing what she wants to see here. Rather, she's not reading the document. She's reading what she wants the document to say, not what it actually says. So, so that's complete and utter nonsense. They certainly were not trying to reverse engineer whatever was flying over their airspace. They didn't even know there was something flying over their airspace, let alone getting one to reverse engineer. This is science fiction rubbish. It's embellishment. It's typical of these sort of people that tell you they're unbiased. You know? I mean, I wouldn't tell you that. I mean, obviously, I'm very biased. It's all bullshit as far as I'm concerned until somebody proves it with tangible evidence. It's all science fiction rubbish. Someone presents that, it's peer-reviewed, and they say this is extraterrestrial technology, reputable universities, not these places in bloody Mexico, looking at these stupid bloody terrible provenance dolls from Jaime Maussan, then I'd accept it. I wouldn't run away and burst into tears and say, well, blimey, you know, I never would have picked that. It was true after all. But I would need to see tangible, peer-reviewed evidence. So, and I like to think that what I report is accurate. I do not embellish, as the fangirl certainly does. They certainly were not trying to reverse engineer whatever was flying over their airspace. Now the British, this was a very old document. It dates back to, what was it, 1997? A little bit later than that, the British stopped investigating UFO sightings. On December the 1st, 2009, the the decision was made not to no longer investigate UFOs, UAPs, because because more than 50 years of investigation had concluded that no UFO sighting had ever revealed anything to suggest an extraterrestrial presence or a military threat to the UK. You know, that's why there's all the ifs and mays, and, you know, they found nothing tangible. If this is real, they found nothing real. So after 50 years of investigation, they gave it away as a waste of resources, a complete waste of time and money. British MOD, from the 1st of December 2009, concluded any investigations into UFOs. They said decision was made to stop investigating UFO sightings because, cool, little bugs flying around, I think. Because more than 50 years of investigation had concluded that no UFO sighting had ever revealed anything to suggest an extraterrestrial presence or a military threat to the UK. The fangirl does not tell you that. She's happy to read out these old UK MOD documents that refer to the Belgian UFO flat, with a few ifs and maybes, nothing definite in there. But she doesn't point out that the British MOD, way back in 2009, December 2009, stopped investigating UFOs because it was a complete waste of time and money. After 50 years of investigation, they found no tangible evidence of extraterrestrials or a threat to the UK. Not that she's biased. Okay, what else we got here? Oh yeah, I saw this Fanboy channel. I don't know whether I should name it or not, really. But at least this guy does allow comments that point out where they're going wrong. Unlike the UFO podcast, you know, if you say anything negative on there, gone. He just cannot handle the truth, Mr. UFO podcast. It would appear these guys may be able to handle the truth. It's a panel show, and they showed a clip from what they said was Channel 7 News from the UK. It was actually Channel 7 News from Australia. I think that one comes from Sydney. I didn't recognise that newsreader. He's not a West Australian newsreader. Anyway, he had an astronomer on there called Sarah Webb, Dr. Sarah Webb, PhD astrophysicist, a real scientist. And the newsreader was asking her about visitors, you know, extraterrestrial visitors. And she said, well, you know, I could be proved wrong. I'd like to be proved wrong, but, you know, I don't think it's happening. And then she went on to say, well, the nearest star is Proxima Centauri. It's 4 light years away. Now, the Fanboy played bullshit jingles all over what she was saying. And I thought, this is super infantile. You know, you've got a professional astrophysicist there that's actually giving you facts, and you're calling bullshit. And she went on. She did actually get something wrong, because she said, and the newsreader said to her, if we were getting alien visitors, where do you think they would come from? And she did make it perfectly clear, but what she said was, well, the distances in the galaxy and the universe are so vast. And she gave an example that is it the Parker probe is travelling at 60 kilometres per second. If that probe went to the nearest star, Proxima Centauri, it would take 500 years to get there. And the guy's going, bullshit, there, we ain't seen shit. He's playing this infantile stuff over what she's saying. So they're not interested in anything other than, you know, it's all real. And of course it isn't. And she said, yeah, it would take 500 years to get to Proxima Centauri, travelling at 60 kilometres per second. And the newsreader went, wow, 500 years, you know, that sort of puts it into perspective. We're not going to be getting any alien visitors. She was actually incorrect there. If you were travelling at 60 kilometres per second, it would take you 21,250 years to get to the nearest star, Proxima Centauri. 21,250 years travelling at 60 kilometres per second. You know, so that's a lot further, a lot longer than 500 years, isn't it? If she'd have said that to the newsreader, he probably would have fallen off his chair. But a lot of these people can't grasp these distances, you know, how long it's going to take to... I mean, if Voyager is going a bit slower than that Parker probe, I think that's... I can't remember how fast that's going now, but it would take... If you pointed Voyager at the nearest star, it would take 78,000 years to get there. That's how far away that's the nearest star. And there's no life on the planets going around that. There's no detectable technological civilization on a planet orbiting the nearest star. So if we're getting visitors, they're going to have to be much further away than that. So I really don't think it's happening. So he normally has a couple of guys on there. Sticko's one of the guys. He's got another bloke on there whose avatar or icon is very similar to mine. You go, no, it's all bullshit. Yeah, it's all bullshit. And these guys know nothing, and they're saying these people know nothing. And she's a PhD astrophysicist. Yeah. They're the ones that know nothing. The fanboys. It's blinkered. It's all real. It's all real. You know, they won't look at evidence and facts. They seem fact averse. I actually left a comment to that effect. You guys seem fact averse. And it was beyond infantile playing those bullshit jingles over what she was saying. So they were saying that Australia doesn't investigate UFOs, and that's bullshit. You know, it's all part of the cover-up. Of course, it isn't. Australia doesn't investigate UFOs. I asked a senior military and navy officer, you know, what the score was in that regard, and he said they're not interested. It's bullshit. They're not interested. So she said that whilst UFOs are seen and reported, as I said earlier, you know, I've seen UFOs. No tangible link between what I've seen and extraterrestrials. It's most likely not aliens. Now, in the background, there was a long debunked green triangle UFO video. And Dr. Webb said it's most likely to be terrestrial technology. Various countries around the world. Dr. Webb explains that drones can move in ways aircraft can't. You know, they can stop and they can go like that. And, you know, aircraft can't do that. You know. And they're very agile, says Dr. Webb. They're very agile, these drones. Absolutely true. Now, the newsreader asks, if we were to get a visit from aliens, where would they come from? And that was where she goes into the distances in the galaxy and everything else. I sort of skipped over that bit. So he's playing his bullshit jingle. Yes, now she's so he was playing his bullshit jingle, and we ain't found shit jingle all over what she was saying. Beyond infantile. It actually made the fanboys look like fools, I thought, personally. Dr. Webb continued. Oh yeah, this is where she said, you know, if you travel at 60 kilometres per second, that bit she did get wrong. As I said, she said it would take 500 years to get to Proxima Centauri. It would take 21,250 years at 60 kilometres per second. Yeah, okay, so now this is another example of fanboys seeing and hearing what they want to see and hear, and not what actually is being said. Because one of the regular fanboys on the Fanboys panel show said, "Did you see how she threw in drones? Fighter jets can't move at those speeds, but drones can." And he went on and on and on. That's not what she said. She said drones can move in ways aircraft can't. They're very agile. That's not what he heard. He heard drones are faster than fighter jets. Ridiculous. Just blinkered fanboys, not interested in facts. Don't listen to what's being said. If they did, they might learn something. So at no time did she say drones were faster than fighter jets. Now, what else was there? There was... Then the main fanboy pipes up and says, "Show me any craft that can go 56,000 miles an hour." I'd agree with that. Show me one. I've never seen anything like that. Of course, no such craft exists. He's talking about this reported radar thing. This probably goes back to Kevin Day's radar glitch. From 80,000 feet down to 50 feet in a fraction of a second, must be doing 56,000 miles an hour. No, it's not a real physical object. It's a radar glitch. He hasn't seen an object that can do 56,000 miles an hour either. He's giving the impression he has. Oh no, he's saying, show me a vehicle that can do 56,000 miles an hour. Because this has been claimed. And obviously we don't have any vehicles that can do that. And the aliens wouldn't have either. If aliens were coming here, why would they engineer something that could go from 80,000 feet to 50 feet in a blink of an eye? What would be the point of that exactly? Think of all the engineering that would have to go into that to protect the people inside it. It's just nonsense. Radar glitch, not a real physical object. So, and they're talking about Australia not investigating UFOs. Now, hang on, where did the 80,000 feet bit go? 80,000 feet. He said 80,000 feet is space, says fanboy number 2 on the Fanboy Guys panel show. 80,000 feet down to 50 feet. 80,000 feet is space anyway. Well, no, it isn't. You've got to get up to the Kármán line at an altitude of 100 kilometres before you reach space. 80,000 feet is not in space. You know, they fill their heads with all this science fiction rubbish and then spruik it as truth. Who's that supposed to impress? I mean, it's only going to impress a bunch of dimwits, isn't it? Because anyone with an IQ bigger than their shoe size is going to say, well, 80,000 feet is not space. This guy's talking bullshit, you know? So, the Australian government no longer investigates UFOs. That's a fact. It's not part of the cover-up. And he said, look at the documents they had way back when, and look at the documents they've got now. And it's completely, you know, it's a complete about-face. And the reason for that is Australia has an extensive HF over-the-horizon radar network. You can see for thousands of kilometres. Because the signals bounce off the ionosphere, they can see small boats on the ocean with it. They can see aircraft taking off and landing in East Timor with it. They track American stealth aircraft with it. They can see anything with this radar, and it covers a huge area. From the top half of Australia, they can see planes taking off and landing in East Timor with it. And they have seen nothing. That's why now they're saying, well, you know, we've had this system running, we haven't seen anything, you know. There is zero evidence of ETs coming here and crashing here. You know, we're not going to waste any, just like the British government, they're not going to waste any time and money on it. But the difference is now they've got a system where they know as fact the airspace is not being invaded by extraterrestrial spacecraft. Years ago, they just jumped. They were on the same bandwagon as the Americans with all these science fiction stories. So with all that gear, they haven't seen one alien spacecraft. And you can put a line through anything you might read about Pine Gap being an ET base. It's just drivel, absolute rubbish. So yeah, they're not going to waste their time and money on it because there's nothing to it, just like the British government. Now it seems that John Greenwald, this has caused a little bit of excitement, you know, from the Blackball, sent an FOI, Freedom of Information request, to the CIA asking if they had any records relating to 3i Atlas, you know, this comet that's just gone through on its way through the solar system. Their response was they would neither confirm or deny they have such records. This caused much excitement amongst all the ETs coming here fanboys. They read this as, yes, the CIA has records and they show that 3i Atlas is in fact an alien spacecraft. It's far more likely to be someone at the in the CIA archive having a laugh with these UFO nuts. I strongly suspect someone in the CIA archive has got a sense of humour. As I've said previously, 3i Atlas is obviously a rock. It's high mass for a start. An alien spacecraft is not going to be high mass. It would be as low mass as possible. It may be made of all sorts of super exotic low mass synthetic materials we cannot even imagine. It's not going to be made of nickel, a heavy metal. And it's not going to be shedding nickel, you know. It's ridiculous. And the other thing too is if aliens were taking a trip through the solar system, they're not going to ignore the only planet with a techno signature. The only planet that's got a technological species. It's going to swing by at least and have a closer look at this planet. And it completely ignored us. So put a line through 3i Atlas. It's not worth worrying about what the CIA's opinion of it is. You only need to know that it's high mass, it's shedding a lot of mass, it's got a high nickel content, and it's going on a pretty much ballistic cometary trajectory through the solar system. That's all you need to know. You know, if it walks like a duck, quacks like a duck, it's a duck, isn't it? You know? It's not an alien spacecraft. Okay. Well, as always, thanks for watching. If you struggled through the video all the way to this point, I'm sorry it's a day late this week, but I just couldn't, just didn't have time to do it yesterday. Just one of those things. So, thanks for watching, and maybe I'll catch you again.